Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast Season 2. This week we're discussing the Angel episode, The Bachelor Party. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
This episode originally aired November 16th, 1999, attracting approximately 5.32 million viewers, which is right around average for this show at this point. All right, Dave. So, number one movie at the box office this week. Any guesses?
Number of year.
99. It's from a big franchise, too.
Oh. Not related to what was on last week, or?
Nope.
Um, Nothing is immediately coming to mind that, especially... The most I could supposedly jab at... Oh no, that would be a couple of years later, even for that.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say one of the Star Wars movies. I wasn't exactly sure if it was going to be one of the new ones, but I think that was more in the 2000s or so when they released that.
No, Phantom Menace was this year, but it was in the summer. Yeah. No, we're in November now, so...
Yeah, around then.
Well, Dave, you've probably seen this movie.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had. It's a James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough.
I'm pretty sure I have, but I'm not sure if I either recognized it as a different title or it's one of the ones that was around at the time, but I didn't actually really watch it until a couple years later.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's by far not the best one, but, you know.
Like, the very most I'm thinking, specifically for this one, is there's a scene that he drives away with one of the female characters, and she almost slips off the motorcycle, but I could be mistaking that with another James Bond movie.
I think that's Tomorrow Never Dies. That's the one previous to this.
Yeah, because I watched that one a lot for stupid reasons.
What reason?
Well, mostly it was just the case of no matter what, they always played it. Like, turning on the TV any sort of evening on the weekend, it's like, Tomorrow Never Dies, and it's like, oh, you've seen this already. Some particular movie specials coming on, Tomorrow Never Dies, and it's like, okay, this is starting to get ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Tomorrow Never Dies was fine. And The World Is Not Enough, it was, it sure was a movie that came out. Alrighty, so number one song in America this week. Any guesses?
That time of year. Did last week's pick get shot down by another one, or is it still sticking in there?
Nope, it's still Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas. And it will be for a while yet. That song was apparently very popular at the time.
And
Alrighty.
even despite that, yeah, I have no recollection of it.
Now, to talk about some video games.
Number of that year.
Oh, we've got some bangers here, Dave. So, starting off with the day this episode came out, November 16th, we, of course, get the tie-in game to Tomorrow Never Dies on the PS1.
Yeah, understandable.
Which, I mean, it sure was a game.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's actually... I probably have more fond memories of it because of just nostalgia. It's probably a lot worse than I remember.
Yeah, with PlayStation 2.
This is
First person,
PS1.
or was
It's
PS1?
PS1. No, they did third person for this.
I see. Yeah.
And, yeah, so EA made this one with, who was the developer? Developer was Black Ops Entertainment. Unfortunately, Rare was unable to make it because GoldenEye was such a success because it was so good they couldn't afford the rights to make this game. That's what you get for making a good game rare. Anyway. Also this week, a little game was released in Japan. Now, we normally don't cover things that were released in Japan, but I'm going to make an exception for this week because there's two big ones. So this little game called Chrono Cross.
Ooh. Very much so.
Came out on the 18th. There's also this small little game that came out on the 21st, also in Japan. Again, probably nobody's ever heard of it. It's this little game called Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, I probably never heard of it. The next day, I'm assuming this came out, I'm assuming this was worldwide, the PS1 version of Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation comes out.
Yeah.
Which I think is Tomb Raider 4, if I remember correctly.
Maybe? Yeah, something like that. Again,
Maybe.
Not super knowledgeable with the past Tomb Raiders.
I think it's the fourth one. I might be wrong, though. I don't know. I'm not super big on the Tomb... Like, I've played the new trilogy, but prior to that, I have basically no knowledge. Also, the same day, November 22nd. See... This other little game came out. Now, it would later be released on the PS2 and Dreamcast in 2000 2001 respectively, but the PC version came out in 99. It's a little game called Unreal Tournament.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you've ever played Unreal Tournament.
No, not ringing any bells specifically.
Okay. It's how do I explain Unreal Tournament? It's like a first-person shooter. I think there technically is a story, but there's not really.
I'm reading the plot as it is now.
Yeah, they were super fun, fast, like first-person shooters back in the day, but there was little to no story to them.
I see. There technically was a story with the small little paragraph of plot that the Wikipedia here has, but
yeah,
no, it's looking just like a big multiplayer first-person shooter brawl.
Yeah, no, like technically there's a story, but nobody really cared. Anyway, that is all for video games this week, although next week we get some more bangers. Anyway, this episode. Right. So basically what happens is Doyle is attempting to, how do I put this? Get Angel to put down his book and go out to a sports bar featuring online trivia so that they can compete against drunks around the world.
You know, which is a thing.
I mean, of course it is, but I just find that I love that that's his selling point.
And then, of course, he's trying to convince Angel, which, out of most people, probably he wouldn't know a damn thing.
No, he'd be like, but... I can just imagine Angel at a sports bar being like, you can't do that. That rule was invented in 1974. It's like, that rule's from like the 1800s. And it's like, what? But things are too modern now. Anyway, Cordelia goes on a date with Pierce, who is he's wealthy because he trades like
he trades them stocks.
Yeah, well, he trades specifically in like futures for like agriculture and like livestock. But the problem is he is painfully boring.
As that sort of job probably is.
Because he's talking about how he made an eighth of a cent on like think it was like wheat futures or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was quite funny.
Good sir, are you questioning how much importance an eighth of a cent can supposedly make?
I no. I understand the economy of scale here. It's just it's very funny.
Yes, very much indeed.
Anyway, Cordelia ends up faking an illness to get out of the rest of the date and gets him to drop her off at near Angel's office, where she is attacked then by a vampire. Doyle comes out and rescues her. Him and Angel had gone to a vampire nest previously to rescue some poor sap who had been strung up and was going to become dinner.
As the vamps usually kind of do, it's like, oh, hey, you have anything to do today? Oh, we gotta have some fun? You're not. We are. Haha.
So the next day she talks with Angel about her evolving attitude toward Doyle, primarily, coming to the conclusion that Doyle, who might actually have some potential.
There is the chance love could supposedly blossom yet.
Or
what's gonna ruin it?
Or at the very least, deserves to be treated to a macchiato for saving her life.
Yeah. This is Cordelia we're talking about.
As they're about to leave, we see a young woman at the front door who looks at Doyle and refers to him as Francis. Stunned, Doyle introduces his wife Harriet to an equally stunned Cordelia.
The moment is ruined.
Yes, it is.
What is that particular line? You've raised my hopes and dashed them quite sufficiently.
It's very good.
So much so.
Angel has just emerged from his inner office when another stranger pokes his head around the door, letting himself in. He goes straight to Angel and introduces himself as Richard. Enthusiastically shakes Angel's hand, believing him to be Doyle.
I'm not Doyle. He's Doyle.
Oh.
Okay, that makes more sense now. Like, looks at Angel, it's like, wow, you really gave up a keeper with this one. It's like, no, Doyle's that guy. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Basically, Harriet is there to get Doyle to sign divorce papers because they were married, but they never legally divorced, even though they've been separated for like 4 years or whatever at this point. Doyle says he'll have his people look over the documents, and Harriet agrees to come back in a few days. Okay. So, later on, after declining Angel's offer of a shot of scotch, Doyle explains that his demon side, genes that he had inherited from a father he never met, didn't manifest until he was 21. At this point, he and Harriet were already married, mentioning that Harriet left because she couldn't handle the fact that her husband was half demon. We'll later find out that isn't entirely true.
Oh, as it kind of is. Someone says one story, you talk to the other person, the story's completely different.
Yes. Angel agrees basically to look into this Richard fellow to make sure that he's not, evil or something.
Stalking, as he usually does.
I mean, that is basically his job. So, Angel sees a clandestine exchange with Richard and someone in a car. He basically just hands him some money. This guy hands him a package. He leaves. Super sus. Okay, once inside the restaurant, Richard hides the small package in an industrial-sized refrigerator. Harriet arrives soon after, bearing stacks of department store boxes tied together with twine. Richard goes into a storage area, selects a bottle of sparkling wine, picks up a carving knife, and morphs into a demon. Just as Richard approaches the unsuspecting Harriet, Angel crashes through a plate glass window and tackles the demon. Repeatedly punching Richard in the face. When Richard doesn't fight back and Harriet shouts at him to stop, Angel is extremely confused and is like, wait, you knew he was a demon? Oh, the knife was to cut the twine. Oh, I done fucked up.
If only some of the other situations he gets himself into could be handled this easily.
Right?
Though it would definitely not be as quick. Just punch the problem and usually ends it.
Yes. So where was I? Harriet further explains that while she did freak initially, she quickly adjusted to the idea of Doyle's demon heritage, more quickly than Doyle did himself. When Harriet encouraged Doyle to explore that side of himself, however, Doyle refused. Harriet tells Angel that her first husband just shut down and withdrew and became pretty much a bitch to live with, which I mean, it is Doyle, so that does kind of make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So we cut back. We see Doyle ranting about the type of demon Richard is, and that their rituals might be dangerous. However, Angel reads that they gave up all those rituals and now just own a chain of restaurants.
As demons supposedly do.
Apparently. So Doyle signs the divorce papers, hands them to Harriet, and she goes to make some photocopies of them, while Richard asks Doyle to come to his bachelor party. He explains that the client has a tradition of asking the first husband of remarrying divorcee to give his blessing to the new union. Doyle agrees, and, well, we'll just fast forward a little bit, because the good stuff's here. So
Yeah, there are bits, but it doesn't really get going until a little later on.
yes, so at the bachelor party, basically Doyle doesn't know this, but he's on the menu. So part of this demon clan's ritual is that they eat the brain of the first husband.
Of course, because it makes perfect sense when the father explains it. The case that the demon needs to get the blessing from the particular person so that they can gain the knowledge of the person who divorced the wife, so that they have all the knowledge and whatnot, so that it would be okay to marry the person with all the happiness and whatnot.
Yeah, and one of the brothers gets a shrimp fork, and he's like, he's gonna eat someone's brains with a shrimp fork. What's wrong with you?
Get the spoon.
He gets a soup spoon instead. It's so good, and it's so dumb, and I love it.
Well, excuse me if the people back then didn't bother getting the rules and whatnot right for cutlery.
It's good stuff. So Angel kind of breaks in, is like, "Nah, you're not gonna eat Doyle's brains." Kind of attacks everyone.
And Doyle very much agrees. It's like, yeah, could we maybe not eat my brain?
Oh, and they put Doyle in this little rolly box thing where just his head is sticking out, and it's a very funny visual.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, so basically the entire thing breaks down into a brawl with Angel and Doyle fighting all these demons until Cordelia and Harriet show up. Harriet's like, "The fuck? You gonna eat his brains?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, yeah, maybe a little." And he tries to defend it, saying that, like, "Oh, well, it's part of our culture, and you knew that." And she's like, she points to one of them, and he's like, "When's the last time you pulled yourself away from ESPN long enough to spill the blood of a she-goat?" And I'm like, that's a good joke. Basically, Harriet...
She does have a point.
She does. She has many points. And basically, Harriet's like, "Nah, fuck this. I'm not marrying you if you're going to eat Doyle's brains." Which is just... I also love when she's walking away, she snaps at Doyle, and if he says anything, she'll eat his brains herself.
Yeah, yeah. Because it is Doyle, and with how he's been acting at the start of this episode, this would most likely give him ideas, and she needed to nip that in the butt right away.
Yeah. Anyway. Doyle turns away as well. Richard's family crowd around him, telling her he doesn't need her, especially since her knees only bend one way. Okay, that's some interesting fucking biology. Yeah. Angel and Cordelia watch Doyle mope in the darkened outer office. Cordelia points out that Doyle's still hung up on Harriet, and Angel agrees, saying that Doyle didn't even know how much. Cordelia says that someone needs to go and cheer him up. And Angel's like, "Great, I'm off to cheer people up." Cordelia's like, no.
Sir, no,
Saying
that
he
is not
needs
your
someone with a
specialty.
heartbeat.
Yeah, yes.
Just, so good. Cordy goes in to talk to him and asks if he's going to become a loser punning guy, and points out they already have one of those in the office.
Yeah.
Both Doyle and Angel take offense to her words, but Cordelia continues saying that Angel can actually pull the attitude off. She sits down and tells Doyle that he'll get through it because he's a nice guy. He asks if she really thinks he's a nice guy, yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, Doyle has a painful vision. This time, he recognizes the blonde woman from Angel's bookmark photo, apparently fighting for her life against multiple foes. When Angel asks wide-eyed what he saw, Doyle hesitates to speak Buffy's name. Dun, dun, dun. It's almost like this was to set up a crossover.
Crossover TV shows!
So what did you think of this episode, Dave?
Turned out very good. It was kind of a little more low-key, silly in that sort of case. And I can somewhat tolerate these kind of stories of guy has X and whatnot and going through the whole love connection things with stuff. That was kind of in the same sort of position as Cordelia in most of the cases. It's like, what? You had another wife? What are you doing with yourself? And kind of going along with it. It's like, oh, there's a chance he might die. We might need to do something about this.
Yeah, it's one of, from memory, it's one of the few more comedic episodes that the series is going to do. Because after, like, I want to say maybe like season 2, there's not a whole lot of time for comedy. Yeah. It's well, you'll see. Anyway, did you have anything else about this episode?
I think this was fairly good.
It was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. However, next week will be slightly less fun. Next week we'll be discussing the episode I Will Remember You. Now, technically, this is the second part of a two-parter from Buffy, but you basically don't need to have seen that episode. So, here's the deal. Angel's going to come back from Sunnydale. He managed to stay out of sight while watching Buffy to make sure that, she didn't die or anything. However, Buffy is going to come to Los Angeles to confront him, but a bloody battle with a medieval demon leaves Angel with some new powers and Buffy with a chance for true happiness with Angel. Dun, dun, dun.
Why do I have a somewhat feeling that this is just a red herring?
Well, Dave, we're going to have to go and have a conversation with the powers that be.
So
until next week, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.